What's up, guys? It's Crash, and we have to talk about Gray Zone Warfare. You guys have probably heard by now with update 0.3, with the Winds of War update, all the stuff that's coming for PvP. But yesterday, they did a reveal and showed the weather. You guys can see it playing behind me, and it is actually incredible. At the end of the video, I want to talk about the optimization a little bit. I know there's a lot of people that are going to have those concerns, but without a doubt, you have to say this is truly next generation and pushing Unreal Engine 5 to its limits. It is so cool looking. The weather, the rain is awesome. Like the effects of it, the audio, everything that goes into it, the attention to detail in this update is really cool. And I'm excited to jump in and play it. Hopefully in a few weeks. We don't have an exact launch date yet, but it is coming soon. It looks really, really good. You guys can also see some of these clips, like the prop wash from the helicopter is there. But in this video anyway, I want to get into some of the interesting details that they talked about in the stream and some of the things that you may have missed. You see the prop wash here in the helicopter. You see the water down below. And that is one of the things with this rain that is incredibly interesting. I'm not kidding when I say this. The raindrops have hit reg. That's true. The raindrops have hit reg. So if you guys look in some of the shots, you can see the raindrops actually hit the leaves and make the leaves move. And then not only does, like a lot of games, whenever there's water and rain, it just kind of puts a shininess over everything to represent the water. This actually has like volumetric water that stands up in the streets. It flows through the canals and flows off the streets and through the rice fields and stuff like that. So it actually has like volumetric water that builds up and then flows. You guys can see like the ring around the edge of the roofs and things like that, where the water's dripping off the roofs. You can see the drips down below. Here you can see the hit reg on the leaves of the actual like raindrops hitting the leaves. With this, with nighttime, with nods, with everything like that, it's going to be incredibly immersive. So I'm excited to see this weather. Not only did they talk about the weather and how that's going to affect things, and a little bit later on in the video, I'm going to show you guys some of the wind simulation and how it works through the trees and what the storms are going to kind of look like, as well as for the first time, we're going to see what nods, like the night vision goggles, actually look like in some of these weather situations as well. So in this video, we're going to go through some of the details that I picked out from that live stream. Not so much focus on the PvP stuff. You guys kind of know that, but there is a kind of a first look at some of the cops. We'll see those, the capture, occupy, protect things. Excuse me. And we'll talk about some of the implications of those, because I think you guys will see where they're at on the map within the live stream, and you guys can see the volumetric water kind of on the street. This is the drag mechanic. This was the bonus shot of the actual drag mechanic, where you'll be able to take it down friendly to cover, to treat their wounds and try to get them back up and back in the fight. So this is really cool too. What I was going to say about the cops though, I think it's really, when you guys see them on the map, I took a screenshot to see on the map, and you guys can really see how they place these around big POIs. Now it's really going to cut down on time and just needing the chopper in general at all. So this is some of the new capture, occupy, protect zones. So these are some of the bases. You can capture these. You can have access to a new spawn point, and occasionally on the bigger ones, there's a new trader, which I'm going to show you guys as well, that you could have potentially seen in the live reveal. This is the strip club, so everybody's going to be hanging out there. It doesn't look to be in its former glory. It doesn't look as fun as it probably used to be honest with you. The downed plane looked really cool. There's some shots later on where the developers actually went there in game. But just tons of additions to the maps, tons of immersive, really cool looking areas. The weather's great. These are some of the other areas that they added to the map. So you can see the changes, and overall over time, kind of what I was hoping for and what they said their vision was, is as this game moves through the major patches every 6 months, the map and the world is just becoming more alive, right? There's less open areas. There's more places to look at. Here are the cops. So these are the capture, occupy, protect zones. You guys can see there's a ton of them. Like, they're all around. So like, say for instance, you're going over here to Tiger Bay. You got some quests there. It's going to be a rough time because you're going to Tiger Bay. So you go over there and you capture. So before you guys go in and start working on missions, you can take one of these cops. And then if you take that, it's kind of like in, I don't know if you guys play New World, where you could build a campfire as a respawn point. In Dead Side, you can put down like a sleeping bag as a respawn point. Then you have a nearby respawn point. So that's going to be so cool. You die, instead of having to go get in the chopper, fly back, find your stuff. You can respawn nearby. This is going to cut down on chopper wait times. This is going to cut down on time in the chopper. This is also going to cut down on LZ campers, because where are they going to camp? You know, they don't know where you're going to pop back in at. There's any number of cops that you guys could take. You could take the chopper. So more ways to get back in the fight. You have this with the update, with update 0.3, you're also going to be able to manage your quests while you're out and about from your tablet. You won't have to go back to the main base to turn in quests. This is going to result in much more time out in Lemang doing your stuff, doing your quests. Oh, I could have rhymed right there. I could have said out in Lemang doing your thing. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. But anyway, it's gonna more time in game, doing what you want to do, playing, having fun. And I think that's going to make the game really awesome. It's going to make time fly when you're in here, instead of having to ride the helicopter so much and worry about LZ campers. Some of the other interesting facts with the weather, you guys can see there's a forecast, and I'll show you some of the implications in just a little bit about gear, what you're going to need to take whenever you are coming across these elements. But what they did do is they worked with a weather service. I think it was called like Meteosource or whatever, Meteosource. They got climatological data from the area of Southeast Asia, and the weather forecast emulates that. I don't think it emulates it in real time, but just the amount of like rain versus sun and how the weather works is kind of based off actual like climatological data of the area. So just little details like that throughout this update are going to make this really, really cool and immersive. Let me see what I had pulled up next. Let me go forward here. So this is where the developers actually went out in the rain. It's not as good a quality because I had to rip it. I had to rip it from the stream, but you guys can see like the wind here. Now he's going to crank the wind all the way up to 100, and you guys can see like how it moves the trees. And it just made me think of like, if you have like a crazy windstorm like this and you're trying to like PvP and do combat, because normally when you're in these situations and you're looking, you're going through the jungle and it's kind of still and calm and quiet, you're listening for footsteps and you're looking for movement. Now imagine the dynamic shifting of your gunfight whenever there's so much motion, there's so much noise, you can move around, people can move around, not hear each other, as well as you can't just look for any little movement because the vegetation and everything is moving like crazy. But these weather simulations are crazy. This is one of the higher tier COPS, capture, occupy, protect zones up on a hill. This is one of the premium ones that's gonna be a little bit more difficult to take, as well as difficult to hold. There's a lot of different ways people can get into there. You guys can see the math is there, right? The new SVD, the Dragunov sniper rifle, and this view could make for some hilarious long shots and some good times with a sniper rifle off this COP as people come try to take it from you. This will also potentially, certain ones that you take will give you access to the new trader Vulture, which we'll talk about him in just a little bit when he comes up on the screen. But you can see just the map is getting less open and wilderness, and there's just more and more things to be there. This is actually some gameplay of them actually going into the new location of the strip club, so you guys can see what that's like going in there. It's really cool on maps like this that are like overall kind of bland, and you just have like the jungle and stuff like that, to have little pops of color here and there. So like the neon lights of the strip club is really cool, and the ambiance, and like it's got an ATM in it, and just the detail in these POIs is super, super cool. And I know a lot of people are worried about optimization with this coming. There was a Scala engineer on this live stream, and he talked about how the rain and stuff is really done GPU side. Generally, a lot of people in this game, I feel like, are CPU bottlenecked. It's going to be on your GPU, and if you turn it down to low, it's incredibly cheap. And whenever we're talking about engineering and optimization, they kind of go off of a rendering budget. Cheaper is less taxing, more expensive takes more resources. So that's kind of their lingo. They talk about how it's cheaper, it doesn't take too much. They did a really good job rendering it. I know in one of their earlier live streams, their overall goal with this is to add in the weather, increase other optimization things. This is the plane crash that looks really cool. You can see like the scar in the earth where like the plane hit and crashed. There's going to be some quests around this. Just cool, man. So what they're saying is they want to keep optimization and how the game is running now, and then add all of this weather on it and kind of keep your frame rates about the same is the overall goal. And I'll talk about this at the end, but I mean, this is really a next gen title. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this is truly a title that's using Unreal Engine 5. It's pushing it to the max. It's going to, you have to have a decent machine to run it. I don't think people are going to be running this on 1060s or 960s anymore, or old cards and stuff like that. But if you think about it, it runs really well on 40 series cards. By the time, I was just thinking about this in my head, by the time the game gets to like 1.0 in a couple years, you know, the 40 series cards are going to be a couple generations old. When this goes into 1.0, you might have 3 generations of GPUs that can run this game just fine. So that's kind of thinking the long game here. I know it's tough with a lot of people that have, have more mid or lower tier systems that can run other games fine. This game is not that. They're really pushing the limits of hardware and like how stuff looks. This is Vulture. So this is the new trader that you can find. If you take over certain cops, you get access to this trader. Why his name is Vulture is because he gets dead PMC's loot that they don't get to, loot that disappears on Lemang, tricked out weapons. He gets those and he scavenges them and sells them. So you can buy dead PMC gear from this guy. Basically, Vulture, scavenger, right? Finding dead stuff and making use out of it. So there's a backstory to this guy. He was already operating before the event or whatever happened that went down. He was already kind of doing his thing. But with the event, with how Lemang, kind of went south into more of a dystopian PMC disaster, then he was able to like proliferate his business and go crazy. So if you get access to that, you might be able to get some good prices. And if it's PMCs, gear, it's probably some already pretty tricked out gear. They talked about weapons will be repaired up until the point they can be repaired. So you might have a little bit of overall durability off of some of the weapons, but you should be able to get some for a cool price. It's going to be very interesting to try to take some of these cops, get access to Vulture, and kind of see what gear he has. And then this is a clip. I hope I got the right one. Again, talking about the details with the rain. I'm not 100% sure if this is the one I was thinking of. Let me scrub just a second. Yes. So talking about the details with the rain, talking about looking at the weather forecast, you have to go set out to do your quest. Not only do you have to talk about how many meds, the weather also impacts how you dehydrate, how your hunger works. It affects your body. So all those little cool nuances and cool features add to the immersion. Then you have looking at the weather forecast and dealing with the rain now and your gear, because what we're going to see from this clip is that a hat with a brim, glasses, these things actually affect how the rain falls down on your face. Played Arena Breakout Infinite. It has a really cool rain simulation, but it's just kind of glass, shield on, shield off. This, you can see now that he took the hat off, the rain is much more in his face, much more in his eyes. You look up, the intensity of the rain also gets higher when you look up. Just super crazy attention to detail there. And then you have the nods. Now I know the quality is not the best because I had to rip this from the stream, but this is, they even said, some of the engineers said this is the first time people that worked on the game have seen what the nods look like at night in the rain. You guys see how much darker it is with the cloud cover. You can see the rain getting in the way. It looks crappy, but it's accurate, right? Think about it. You're out in the middle of Lemang. You're in the middle of a jungle in a monsoon storm at night with nods. You're going to feel soggy. You're not going to be able to see. It's going to be pretty crappy. But man, the immersion here is just crazy. It's really cool to see the nods and stuff like that. And then how you might throw a hat, excuse me, you might throw a boonie hat in your backpack, because when you're going out and about, when you're going to run and see what things are up to, you might need to pull out a hat if rain's in the forecast, just crazy little things like that about planning how you're going to roll your raids and stuff is going to be really cool. But anyway, I think that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about with what they revealed yesterday. I thought there were some really cool little details coming with this update. I know a lot of people are going to be concerned about the optimization. I feel like I addressed that just a little bit. It's a next gen title. You have to have a decent machine to run it. However, I think with what's all involved and what is actually being rendered on the screen, just the amount of information and the raindrops hitting leaves make the leaves move, all that is happening. And if they can keep the rendering budget near the same, I think that's an incredible W on the optimization front. It would be really cool. I also want to give a shout out to whoever in the Twitch chat said that if somebody is camping an LZ, that the lightning should strike them. Put me down. +1 on that idea. I like that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to get more into Gray Zone Warfare within this next update with everything coming with PvP. I think I want to sink some more time into it. We could even see some more gameplay streams with this game over here on YouTube. I have been streaming over on twitch.tv/crash8. I am part of Twitch Enhanced Broadcasting, so you get 4K streams over there with the new HEVC codecs on Twitch, and it's really, really cool. Guys, I can't thank you enough. I'm sorry about not as many uploads. We're doing what we can here. And I'm just thankful that you guys stick around and still hang out with me. I appreciate it so much, and I'd love to see you next time.